The comments and opinions of the persons interviewed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of the producers or the network.
It is one of the most secret organizations in America.
We'll talk about secrets. These people are the meat plus ultra of secrets.
And boasts more than 100,000 faithful followers throughout the world.
They are trying to save all humankind.
For some, it is a cult.
When you hear about people that have escaped from Scientology, they really did escape.
To its members, it's a way of life, a religion based on the cosmic revelations of an inspired genius.
Everything in Scientology is about you discovering the universe within yourself.
But what exactly is Scientology?
All Scientologists are definitely not equal.
And what is its ultimate plan?
Scientologists see their mission as clearing the planet.
There are those who believe in the existence of a book. A book that contains the most highly guarded secrets of the United States of America. A book whose very existence is known to only a select few. But if such a book exists, what would it contain? Secret origins? Secret membership? Secret agendas? Does there really exist America's Book of Secrets?
Hollywood, California, July 11th, 2013. Actress Leah Remini publicly quits the Church of Scientology and ignites a major scandal for the already notorious organization. The firestorm of controversy escalates when journalist Tony Ortega breaks the news that Remini had also filed a missing person report for the wife of Scientology's leader, David Miscavige. According to Remini, Miscavige's wife, Shelley, had not been seen in public for more than 6 years.
This was somebody that used to run Scientology. Where did she go? I mean, how can the wife of the leader of a worldwide billion-dollar organization just vanish? I broke the news on a Thursday morning. By that Thursday afternoon, the LAPD was telling reporters, no, we've talked to her, she's fine. Case closed.
But the Church of Scientology's secrecy is not unique to this case. In fact, much of what is known about the mysterious organization is speculation, including the size of its membership.
I heard the other day, Kirstie Alley claimed 20 million. They've always exaggerated their membership.
But regardless of its size, the Church of Scientology is unquestionably a wealthy and influential institution.
The church has vast resources. I mean, we're talking about an organization that is worth billions, with an annual income measured in not tens of millions, but hundreds of millions of dollars.
In addition to its vast real estate holdings in Los Angeles, the Southern California-based organization also owns billions of dollars worth of property all over the world, including the $100 million Superpower building in Clearwater, Florida, and the massive Church of Spiritual Technology known as Trementina Base in New Mexico. The church's headquarters, which insiders refer to as Gold Base, is situated on a 700-acre compound 90 miles from Los Angeles. It includes a multi-million-dollar mansion and even a film studio, strictly off-limits to outsiders. The compound is reportedly protected by spiked fences and hidden bunkers. Here, the church leaders, known as Sea Org, are protected from outside influences.
The Church of Scientology is run by a group of people who are essentially monks.
Sea Org is akin to their priesthood. The people who are in it don't really interface with the outside public, except as they deliver services to Scientologists. The vast majority of Sea Org members are not permitted to read newspapers, not permitted to go on the internet. They're completely cloistered from the outside world.
But while the church often boasts that it is the fastest growing new religion in the world, an increasing number of former members like Jenna Miscavige Hill, the niece of Scientology leader David Miscavige, have denounced the organization.
This blue building right behind me is the Pacific headquarters for Scientology. I can see how it could look like a benign environment with a big cross on the top, but the reality of what goes on in there is completely different.
I am studying ancient civilizations, trying to find what happened to them.
Founded in 1952 by a modestly successful science fiction writer by the name of L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology was controversial from the very beginning.
Some people considered L. Ron Hubbard a messiah. Other people called him a madman.
L. Ron Hubbard is my great-grandfather on my mother's side. It's dangerous for me even to sit here and to talk about it. I'm the only one in my family that will. L. Ron was a natural-born storyteller, one of the most prolific writers easily of the last century, and famously was able to write books in an hour in any genre while the publishers were downstairs in the hotel lobby. And that led very successfully into a science fiction career.
In 1950, Hubbard's literary success peaked with a self-help book entitled Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health. It made the New York Times bestseller list and was so popular, it virtually launched the self-help industry. But just how and why did Hubbard turn his popular book into a worldwide religion?
Hubbard from the beginning was saying, if you follow my counseling, you're going to be impervious to disease, you're going to have total recall, you're going to be a superhuman being. Government didn't like that. He realized that if he kept calling it a science, that he was going to run into big trouble. And so in 1953, he started talking to a follower about maybe we should try the religion angle.
Hubbard allegedly told several people, including his agent, Forrest J. Ackerman, that by starting a new religion based on Dianetics, he and the other founding members could get rich.
Forrest Ackerman told me that L. Ron Hubbard told him point blank that if you want to make a lot of money, create a religion. That's how you do it.
But when Hubbard created the Church of Scientology, he expanded on the principles of Dianetics by adding a secret spiritual doctrine, one that would only be revealed to members who followed a strict series of steps. But why?
The secretiveness, if you're a member, sort of adds to its allure. It helps to keep you interested, and it's like once you achieve one step, there's always another step that you don't know about, that you're not allowed to know about until you're at that level. You're taught that if those are revealed to you before you're ready, then you can die.
Scientology's spiritual path, called the Bridge to Total Freedom, starts by erasing the so-called reactive mind until one reaches a state known as clear.
Scientologists see their mission as clearing the planet. And what they mean by that is clearing the negative reactive mind through the technology. And they believe that person by person, they will change the world. They will make it free of insanity, free of criminal activity, a better place for everyone to live.
Once members are clear, they're encouraged to work their way up to becoming an operating thetan and slowly release supernatural powers, which Hubbard claimed were trapped within. Members do not pray to climb the bridge. They must take classes and undergo audits, the spiritual equivalent of religious services.
Unlike any other church in the world, everybody has to pay to do services, and they're not cheap.
The first course will only cost you $50, but by the time you get to the top of the bridge, you're paying up to $1,000 an hour for counseling.
It's really for the individual to judge if the amount of money that they paid for those classes is worth the help they receive. The Church of Scientology is a religion in the fullest sense of the word, so they are trying to save all humankind, save the world, as it were.
But according to its critics, the high cost of Scientology also forces the question about whether it is sincere in propagating an enlightened spiritual philosophy, or is it really all about money?
None of these human beings that have paid all that money and gotten so far in Scientology have been gifted with any of the quote-unquote superpowers that were promised to them.
But despite the frequent allegations of it being a money-making scheme, the Church of Scientology continues to thrive, especially in Hollywood. But why? What is it about this organization that attracts so many prominent celebrities? Coming up.
There are few organizations more dedicated to narcissism than Scientology.
There is this special tier of celebrities that are given preferred treatment.
As Scientology was virtually founded in Hollywood, today it is virtually funded by it. Of the thousands of members who live and work in and around Southern California, many are prominent players in the film and television industry. And although some prefer to remain in the shadows, there are many who are quite open in their advocacy. In addition to Tom Cruise, the list of prominent Scientologists includes John Travolta, Kirstie Alley, Greta Van Susteren, Jenna Elfman, and Jason Lee. But just in case anyone thinks that joining Scientology means they will soon be rubbing elbows with the likes of Tom Cruise or Kirstie Alley, think again.
There are three primary levels of Scientologists. There are the full-timers, the C organization, the workers. Then there are the publics who pay for courses and live in the community. And then there is this special tier of celebrities that are given preferred treatment.
All Scientologists are definitely not equal. They have the best-looking church with their secret entrances, and they're cared for by specific handlers.
I had personal interaction with Tom Cruise in 2004, and no expense was spared to see to it that he was serviced in every way possible. Gourmet meals, beautiful lodgings, every effort was made to keep him happy.
But just how and why did Scientology become so entrenched in Hollywood?
Hubbard was big on opinion leaders. He was big on recruiting celebrities. He tried to recruit Walt Disney. Walt was like, no way.
Celebrities are important to Scientology because they are magnets for recruitment.
They use their celebrity members in the extreme to suck people in.
It is also believed that members who are also powerful Hollywood writers and producers can be instrumental in planting Scientology messages in numerous films and television shows.
Battlefield Earth was clearly an attempt by John Travolta to bring a novel written by L. Ron Hubbard to the screen in order to spread admiration for Hubbard and ultimately Scientology itself. David Miscavige, a leader of Scientology, was intimately involved in the production of Battlefield Earth.
But just what is Scientology's appeal in Hollywood, especially considering its controversial status?
There are few organizations more dedicated to narcissism than Scientology. When you go to a Catholic church, you're asked to kind of give up yourself to this larger purpose. What Scientology is like is you sit down with one other person and they ask you question after question after question about what? You. Everything in Scientology is about you discovering the universe within yourself.
The acting profession is tough, and they seem to be often very vulnerable people. And so Scientology gives actors a sense of security, a sense that, yes, I can control my own universe.
But just how powerful is Scientology's hold over the Hollywood community? And is there any truth to the rumor that many actors strike a kind of devil's bargain in exchange for Scientology helping to keep their secrets?
One of the things that we didn't know in the press was that Tom Cruise was virtually out of Scientology for most of the time he was married to Nicole Kidman. Then he and Nicole broke up, and Miscavige then made it job one. We're getting Tom back in.
Some of the more important projects I worked on were the recovery of Tom Cruise back to Scientology and serving as a personal counselor over a 3 or 4 year period.
But in addition to a celebrity using Scientology to protect his or her secrets, could the organization also be using those secrets to keep those people firmly under their control?
One of my jobs when I worked for Scientology was to install audiovisual systems, and I installed hundreds and hundreds of cameras in counseling rooms that would record a person who's receiving counseling.
Every session has a case supervisor who is behind the scenes directing every action that the auditor does. And those case supervisors are controlled by some other executive in Scientology.
David Miscavige is able to watch some auditing sessions live from his remote locations, or get recordings of them and watch them later. There are decades of court documents showing that they do this, that these people give up their innermost secrets.
So there is this level of fear on the part of a person in Scientology, even celebrities, that they know everything, that there are no boundaries in the auditing process, which is a kind of confessional, and that the notes or the videotapes of these sessions are the church property of Scientology. And many have said, I was afraid that they would use the information that they had on me and expose me.
And guess what? You've sold all your innermost secrets to Scientology, and they're building a dossier on you.
Fear? Intimidation? Is that really the way Scientology keeps their members tightly in their grip? Or do they also employ other, even more secret methods? Methods that involve control, not of a member's reputation, but of their mind. Coming up.
They get people at a vulnerable point.
From a young age, children are taught that if they see their own parents saying something negative about Scientology, they have to turn them in.
Los Angeles, California, December 17th, 2005. The Church of Scientology throws a grand opening party for its newest museum, Psychiatry, an Industry of Death. Inside, visitors are presented with a horror show of psychiatric treatments gone wrong.
The story goes that in 1948, Hubbard had formulated his ideas, and he approached the American Psychiatric Association and said, here, I've discovered how the mind works. And they rejected it. And Hubbard's own personal hatred for psychiatry then permeated the organization.
You're basically taught that psychiatrists are responsible for 99% of everything that's wrong with the universe, not just Earth, with the universe.
Some of the things that they say have gained credence, such as some people are over-medicated. But make no mistake about it, Scientology is opposed to the entire mental health profession.
For most new recruits, Scientology is appealing because it promises to unlock the secrets to their happiness. And part of that process involves conducting what are called assessment tests.
You'll have somebody who is walking down the street and he sees a little table that says stress test. And this guy just broke up with his girlfriend 5 minutes ago. And they said, listen, you're having problems with relationships. We've got a course on how you can handle that.
I took the personality test. They deemed me suicidal. Said Scientology can help you with that. They sold me their Scientology Bible Dianetics. The money train started right away. And I underwent auditing and everything else.
I've always felt that what Scientology offers that is attractive to people is certainty. Scientology comes to you and says, we have all the answers. We're going to help you make more money. We're going to help your relationships. Some of the people I've met who have left Scientology are among the smartest people I've ever met. But when I ask them, what was it that got you in, every single time they talk about being vulnerable. They've just gone through a breakup. They just lost a job. There was something in their lives that made them look for an answer and something they could grab onto.
Their pattern is to say, well, Scientology can help you with that. They get people at a vulnerable point, and they bring you in using that.
Jenna Miscavige Hill came into Scientology because her parents were church executives. She was sent to live at a Scientology boarding school.
Every aspect of our life at the ranch was controlled. And we would meet up at a gathering called a muster, where we all had our individual lines. They would literally salute, like, Unit 1, all present and accounted for. Stepping out of line was futile. We knew that because we practiced saying it every day, saying that human emotion and reaction was the primary block to productivity.
from a young age, children are taught that if they see their own parents saying something negative about Scientology, they have to turn them in. You have to write what's called a knowledge report, a KR, and turn that in.
Scientologists also have their own secret language in the form of military-style acronyms. Key terms include KSW for Keep Scientology Working, OT for Operating Phaeton, a phrase for someone high up on the bridge to total freedom, and SP, which stands for Suppressive Person, or someone who is an enemy of Scientology.
There's so many acronyms that not only can we have a conversation and the person next to us doesn't understand it, but if you're pretending to be a Scientologist, I can tell in 1 second that you're not, just by the way you're talking to me.
It keeps members in and it excludes outsiders. It's very much a part of the mindset and the mental triggers that are put in place for a Scientologist. I know it took me years to get past that.
But is the unique language of the Church of Scientology really designed to keep practices a secret from the public? Or is it, as some insiders believe, a way to control a member's behavior and even their innermost thoughts? Coming up.
An e-meter gives them an edge to manipulate the person who is being audited.
It would mess with your mind. If you try to leave the room, you are physically stopped.
One of the tools Scientologists use in breaking down a member's past emotional traumas is an electropsychometer, or e-meter. It is used during audit sessions to measure a member's so-called static field.
An e-meter is a galvanic response measuring apparatus which measures nervous tension in your hands. It's part of a polygraph machine, which would also have a galvanic response measuring apparatus feature.
An e-meter detects resistance in electric flow because the body doesn't conduct electricity. And so the meter reads when that flow is disrupted. And that tends to indicate that what you're discussing is an area that likely has some trauma beneath it. I'm going to do what's called a pinch test, and I'm going to pinch you, and I want you to watch the needle so you can see that you're going to get a read on that needle. So you got a little bit of a to the right. Mm-hmm. And then what I will do is I'll ask you to recall the moment of that pinch. So you got a little, now recall the moment of that pinch. You got a less one. Each time through it, it lessens that read until finally you're done with it. And that is how the auditing session actually works.
When I went in as a journalist and joined at the very base level of Scientology auditing, I could see some value in it. What happens is they'll say, take me back to an early trauma in your life. You will repeat the same story over and over to the point where you're just absolutely at a point of elation and good humor about it. They want to break you down like that, and they will tell you this. You've blown the charge of that trauma. The truth of the matter is, you're being hypnotized. Hypnosis is not a bad thing. At its core, in its essence, it's helped a lot of people therapeutically.
But there are those that wonder, if the e-meter can help to improve a person's mental health, could it also be used to impair it? Could auditing, the religious core of Scientology, also be part of a secret process?
In my opinion, Scientology's process of putting people through auditing breaks down critical and independent thinking and promotes a mindset where Scientology basically takes control of people.
Many times they would ask questions like, did you steal this? And I would be like, no. And it would indicate that the e-meter is saying that I did. And so it would mess with your mind. It would be like, you've been taught to trust this e-meter, and you're like, did I steal it? And I'm so deluded that I don't even think I did, but I really did. It makes you crazy.
So what the auditor has at his or her disposal is a machine that can measure if you're nervous when they're asking you questions. And so that gives them an edge to potentially exploit the session and manipulate the person who is being audited.
If you try to leave the room, you are physically stopped. So you cannot get out of that room unless you answer the question that the e-meter said you did or didn't do.
They have something called a sec check, a security check. If you're suspected of having negative thoughts, you not only have to go in to be questioned, but then you're billed for it. Leah Remini, after she expressed some concern about the leader of the church, her sec check took 3 months. And at the end of it, she was billed $300,000. And by the end of that time, she then rescinded her report about the leader. That's how Scientology maintains control. People are terrified of having to go through that kind of questioning, and so they don't dare say anything negative about Scientology.
But is it really machines like e-meters that are controlling members' behavior? Or could it be the collective behavior of the members themselves? Some believe peer pressure plays a large role in keeping Scientologists under control.
You are paying someone to brainwash you, and that's incredibly painful for people to admit when they emerge, because a lot of them believe that they are helping the world.
I have worked with people through interventions to get them out of Scientology. And what I've seen is that people have a sense that I have invested so much time and money in Scientology that I can't walk away from this.
And it takes a big person to say, I just wasted 30 years of my life on something that I gave $2 million to, and it's amounted to nothing. And that's where you get a lot of people going, you know what? I'm just going to stay.
But with all the negative publicity and controversy surrounding Scientology, how is it that they are still able to recruit new members? Is what Scientology offers really so appealing? Or could there be other, perhaps more secret reasons? Coming up.
They would file false police reports to harass us with the law.
I would start crying in my car. I didn't know what was going on.
That can be the gateway to becoming involved with Scientology.
February 10th, 2008. A group of internet hackers, calling themselves Anonymous, stages a global protest against the Church of Scientology. Thousands of people from 14 different countries and more than 50 cities show up. Just weeks earlier, Anonymous had uploaded a message to Scientology, accusing the church of multiple crimes.
Hello, leaders of Scientology. We are Anonymous. We have been watching you. We shall expel you from the internet and systematically dismantle the Church of Scientology.
Anonymous's relentless campaign against the church was sparked after a video of Tom Cruise extolling the virtues of Scientology was leaked to the media in January 2008. The church threatened legal action against anyone who streamed it. But as far as Anonymous was concerned, that threat infringed on what they called internet freedom.
One of the big problems with Scientology at that point was that the media would not talk about them in any negative way. We thought one of the things that would help was getting everyone's eyeballs on them.
After the protest, some of the members of Anonymous, including Greg Hausch, say they found themselves under attack.
Scientology's retaliation took on a lot of different facets. One of them was that they would follow various members of Anonymous from the protests to their houses. And they would hire private investigators to stay overnight and wait until the person went to work so they would get good pictures of them so they could call up their bosses and call them cyber terrorists trying to get people fired from their jobs. They would file false police reports to harass us with the law. I spent 7 months in court for those charges that actually I got off on because I didn't do it.
Anonymous's battle with Scientology was known as Project Chanology. And caught in the crosshairs was Craigslist, a website often used by Scientology in its recruiting efforts. Sherry Pender was fresh out of college when she said she answered a job ad on Craigslist for a teaching position at an art school.
When I went in for the interview, everything looked totally legit. And after I met with somebody briefly, they sent me down with personality test, I guess, is what it's called.
According to Pender, she was offered the position, but was told she would have to undergo special training.
A few weeks into the training, I thought it was really strange. I remember being like affected emotionally by it. Like there were many days when I would leave after training and I was very like upset. I would start crying in my car. I didn't know what was going on.
Pender researched terminology being used by the school, suspecting it was linked to Scientology. She then reached out to investigative journalist Mark Ebner for advice.
She was like, they're using weird jargon, and I think this is Scientology. I did some research, and yes, this program was a Scientology front group, and I said, you seem to be a talented artist and a nice person. Get the hell out. And she did.
Another recently exposed front group for Scientology is Narconon, a nationwide drug rehab program founded in 1966.
If you become involved in Narconon, that can be the gateway to becoming involved with Scientology, because Narconon is all about the technology, the training as conceived and written by L. Ron Hubbard.
So, for example, one early form of training in Scientology is to shout instructions at an ashtray. You're literally asked to tell this ashtray to stand up, sit down, and you move this ashtray around. They say it's to help you get your intention across. In Narconon, one of the things you have to do is talk to an ashtray.
The Church of Scientology insists Narconon has nearly a 90% success rate. Even Lisa Marie Presley famously credited the program with saving her life. But even though it boasts a list of prominent and powerful advocates, are the church's detractors winning the war against it? Could Scientology's entire future be in jeopardy? Coming up.
There are a lot of people that literally had to physically escape.
I just couldn't live with a lifetime of abuse, both physical and mostly mental.
New York City, June 28, 2012. Actress Katie Holmes files for divorce from Tom Cruise. Court records later reveal that she allegedly left him to protect their daughter Suri from the Church of Scientology. But given Scientology's reputation for tight-fisted control, are members really allowed to simply walk away from the church?
I decided to leave Scientology after a lifetime of control, manipulation, abuse, both physical and mostly mental. And at some point, I realized the hypocrisy of everything, and I just couldn't live with that anymore.
When you hear about people that have escaped from Scientology, they really did escape. It's not something that's being sensationalized. There are a lot of people that literally had to physically escape from Scientology because they send people after people to get them back. And it's all for one reason, so that these secrets that they have don't get leaked out.
Mark and Claire Headley met and married in the Sea Org. When they decided to leave the church, they planned separate escapes, not knowing if they would see each other again.
It's against their laws to even express wanting to leave. So I never expressed anything of that to Mark, and vice versa. He never said anything of that to me until January 2005 when he made his escape.
When I decided to leave Scientology, I knew that there was a very, very high chance that I would never see my family or my friends ever again for the rest of eternity. So it was almost like, I'm going to suffer and I'm going to be part of this organization and be connected to my family, or I can just leave and take the chance that maybe they'll also leave.
Many former Scientologists claim that the church has a secret disconnection policy. It exists not only to discourage people from leaving, but also to prevent them from revealing the organization's closely guarded secrets.
Scientology is not a turn-the-other-cheek religion. If you're against us, we will do everything we can to destroy you.
The Church of Scientology wants to make sure that people who are disconnected from the church do so on cordial terms The church has formalized that into a very set process. It's all part of what they call the technology process. And they get upset when people skip that process.
Could the Church of Scientology really be what its critics say it is? Is it masquerading as a religion? A business that will stop at nothing to control its members?
It has its critics, but I think there are people that have benefited in some way, shape, or form from Scientology.
The Church of Scientology is built on secrets. The compartmentalization of information is so well organized within Scientology that it's almost impossible to show the world what's actually happening inside.
Attacked by the tabloids, plagued by scandal, and shrouded in secrecy. Does Scientology still have a future? And can it survive in the so-called information age?
Scientology claims to be the fastest growing religion on the planet. From what I understand, they're dwindling by the day because with a mouse click, I can find out what normally it would have taken me 2 decades and $100,000 to find out. Then you have nothing to sell me.
Even though people are leaving, the church soldiers on. I think Scientology will continue to go on as long as it has its vast resources and cash flow.
Is Scientology really a religion? A spiritual choice that helps its members achieve an inner peace? Or is it fueled by false hopes and paranoia? One thing is certain. Scientology is alive and well. It is rich and it is powerful. And it may very well be here to stay.